It's about us growing in our relationship with God, getting stronger spiritually. And that's my purpose. That's my mission. That's what I'm about. That's what I'm focused on. That's all I'm focused on this year. If you ask me what I'm doing here, I'm saying my purpose is to help people grow spiritually. Okay, that's what I'm about, and the Lord's taken hold of me, and I'm not going to get distracted. This is my purpose this year. This book here is a book I came across. It's actually was required reading in one of my courses, and it's a book called The Leader's Journey. It's actually helpful for anyone, not just leaders. It's written by Christians. And they summarize in this book the 3 essentials of personal transformation. Personal transformation is changing from who we are now to what we want to become, or what God wants us to become. And they helpfully summarize in their view, and I think it's a really good view. I think it's consistent with a lot of what other people write. They summarize the 3 essentials, the 3 things that are essential to change. And essential, I mean, if you don't have them, then you're not going to change. Okay? Now, people articulate these in different ways, so I'm not saying that this is the only way people describe it, but I found it really helpful. Number 1, essential to personal transformation, is personal obedience and truthfulness. When I say personal obedience, obviously it's a Christian context, so it's being obedient to Jesus. Personal obedience and truthfulness. And truthfulness means to live an open, transparent life. To be truthful, not lying, not deceiving, not having secrets, not keeping things hidden. Number 2 is to be part of a community of love and grace. So it's not just enough to have personal obedience and be truthful. You have to be around other people who also are living that way, who are supportive, so they love you, unconditional love. They're supportive and they're full of grace. So they're not the people that condemn you and make you feel bad. They're not the people that, don't mean you well, that are trying to cause you harm. They're the people that will love you and will be supportive and gracious to you, even when you fail. We need to be part of that community. And number 3, developing disciplines of self-reflection. Now, this is what the third one really is. What I'm sort of going to focus on in terms of advertising, because this whole idea of developing disciplines of self-reflection is, or living. I think they put it, living a life of self-reflection. I think is a huge area. It's about taking what we know and putting it into practice. Over the last few weeks, I've been reading the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus' Sermon on the Mount, Matthew chapter 5 to chapter 7. At the end of the Sermon on the Mount, right? He says this. He says, those who hear my words and do them, they are like a man who builds his house on the rock. That is a wise man. The storms of life come, but the house stands steady. But then he says, those who hear my words but don't do them, they are a foolish man who builds their house on the sand. The storms come and the house is destroyed. This is what this third one's talking about. It's not just enough to hear what Jesus says. We have to then put it into action. We have to do it. And so what I'm going to be talking about after this series on anxiety is talking about spiritual disciplines.